Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wanted Fugitives, your Crime Stoppers show. I'm Sergeant Melony Peterson.
And I'm Amber Southard.
And we are glad that you are joining us.
Absolutely. It's so much fun to be back. I feel like we go every other week, so it's always fun when we get to do this.
And hopefully, you know, in a couple more months, we can increase it and do a weekly show.
That's it.
That's our goal, people. That's our
Fingers
goal.
crossed.
Well, we've hit the ground running in February, and here's just a few of the fugitives that were arrested the last few days of January. Welcome back, everybody. Well, like I was saying before the break, you know, we've had a great month in January. We've started off February phenomenally.
Yes, we have.
And we want to keep that trend. For those of you out there that's never provided a tip to Crime Stoppers, here's the 3 simple ways you can do that. First, you want to call the 24-hour-a-day call center at 433-STOP or 433-7867. And you can go to the Gulf Coast Crime Stoppers webpage. The right-hand corner of that page, it's gulfcoastcrimestoppers.org. You can just click on Tip Submit. And it's really easy. It walks you through the process. And our most favorite way,
you know I love it.
P3 Tips.
That's it. It's so easy to use, and you can download that. You can go to your app store, download that on your Android or your iPhone device, and it's free. It's a free app.
Absolutely. And
cool.
we like it because you can upload photos and videos, anything you want through P3. You're
I
gonna,
love that you can text.
Yes. And ask me questions,
Yeah.
and it is 100% anonymous. Of course, you're going to get that tip number and a password, and we say this so many times.
Do not lose that. That is your technical, your identity for Crime Stoppers, if you will, because you really don't have one, but that number that you only know.
That's right.
We don't know it. Nobody else knows it. You know it. You
Can't
lose
look it
that.
up.
And that's happened before. People, want to claim their tip, but they've lost the number. Sorry. I mean,
there's no way when you report something anonymously, there is no way to look your information up.
No.
We didn't get your name.
No, nothing.
All we did was give you that 6-digit PIN.
Yeah, so it's very, very important. Keep a hold of that, put it somewhere safe, and follow up with your tip.
That's right. Amber and I talk about this every week on the Wheel of Fugitives. Our rewards go up to $3,000. It's the freest money you'll ever get.
I know, and I think every time, like, what could I do with that money?
Right.
I mean, anything from just paying some bills off to a shopping spree, I think about that too, or,
That's right.
grocery shopping, anything. I mean, it's so many things you could do with that.
Absolutely. It's a very great incentive to have your criminal friends on.
Yeah, I know. You're just fighting crime in the community.
That's right.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started with this week's 15 wanted fugitives. Remember that these fugitives are wanted as of February the 3rd. And our first fugitive is Shelby Diamond. Shelby's 45. She's wanted for possession of cocaine, possession of drugs without a prescription, a controlled substance without a prescription. Shelby has a bond of $4,000. Yep.
Shelby, she doesn't look so diamond.
Nope.
No, she needs to get some help.
That's right. Then she can be a diamond in the rough.
I like it.
Our next wanted fugitive is Amanda Montevino, or
Montevina?
Vina? Yeah, Amanda is 39. Oh gosh, she's wanted for a violation of community control. This is her 3rd DUI. She was also found with a violation for possession of controlled substance without a prescription and petty theft. And Amanda unfortunately doesn't have a bond.
She's got that neck tattoo, and we like seeing those just because it's easier to identify. She could grow her hair out. She could change the color.
That's right.
that neck tattoo, it's going to be there. It's always going to look the same, so that's the way you can identify her if you're out and about.
It's calling card.
It is.
All right, our next wanted fugitive is Marcella Finkley. She's 56, and she is wanted for robbery, Amber, and she has a bond of $5,000. She looks so sleepy.
She doesn't look happy. She's got her purse on. Looks like she's ready to get out of there and go.
Yep.
But guess what? You got to go back
That's right.
because you didn't do what you needed to do.
Exactly. Next wanted fugitive is Marion Fountain. Marion is 38 years old. He's wanted for fraud, failure to redeliver hired or leased property with a bond of $2,500. And, you know, we say this all the time. I'm sure it was a TV. It had to have been a
Super Bowl was
rental.
coming up. Needed that TV.
That's right.
I get it. Nobody wanted to miss the game. It really wasn't much of a game to watch, though. It was the lowest scoring one in history.
Exactly.
And now look at you.
You knew the Pats were going to win. Just saying.
You didn't return the TV. You didn't pay your payments.
So
Here we are.
yeah, Buddies wants their TV back.
Mm-hmm.
Our next wanted fugitive is Andrea Bartouche. She's 43. She's wanted for a violation of probation for possession of controlled substance, 3 counts, possession of cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Unfortunately, Andrea does not have a bond. We hate to see these as well.
We do. We absolutely do. But we see them every show.
That's right.
We do. And Bartouche, that's a fun last name to say.
It really is. I like it.
Bartouche, yeah.
Andrea, I really wish you the best. Hope you get the help you need. Next wanted fugitive is Cordero Gross. He's 28. He's wanted for kidnapping and false imprisonment with a bond of $30,000.
That's a pretty steep bond.
Yeah.
That's, well, you know, that's pretty gross.
Exactly.
The bond.
It's gross charges.
It is.
And this is another reason why, and I know Amber for a fact has mentioned this several times, it's the reason why we don't want you to make contact with any of these wanted fugitives.
Absolutely not. Any of them could be dangerous. These men and women out there in the uniforms are completely trained to do this job. Please let them do their job. So give them a call, let them handle it. Do not approach them. Do not say, look, they look so innocent over there eating their ice cream cone in Baskin Robbins or wherever you might see them. They're not. These charges say a lot about them. So please, if you call the 433-STOP or you use any of the other 2 options that you could, or you just decide to call your local law enforcement, that's the best way to handle it.
Absolutely. Next wanted fugitive is Laboris Horn. He is 29. He's wanted for vehicle theft. He also has a failure to appear with a no bond on that vehicle theft. He has a bond of $1,000. So Laboris, next time get permission. Don't take cars that don't belong to you.
He's got that face that's like, say what?
Yeah, what? Me?
I got these charges?
Right.
You did.
All right, next up is Rachel Johnson. She's 32. She's wanted for grand theft. Rachel has a bond of $2,500.
Rachel just needs to do the right thing. She's
Yeah.
32. That's
Young.
Get it taken care of.
She's got 1 charge, which normally we see a plethora of charges.
Most of the time, I feel like you need to take a breath somewhere and you're going to pass out through the charges. So, Rachel, get this taken care of. Do the right thing. It's easy.
Yeah.
Just suck it up and do it.
Absolutely.
It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. Just get it done.
Only hurts for a second.
Yeah.
Next wanted fugitive is David Meeks Jr. He's 37. He's wanted for dealing in stolen property. He has a bond of $2,500.
Wow, he's you know, he kind of looks like the guy from The Walking Dead.
Oh my God! Yes.
Rick, kind of in a rough criminal way. Still not getting you anywhere though.
Nope.
You gotta do the right thing. You gotta turn yourself in, get it taken care of.
Yeah.
David, come on.
Next up, we have Jamal Owens. Jamal's 27, wanted for grand theft, fraud, swindling, passing forged or altered instruments. Man, that's a lot. And yeah, Jamal's got a bond of $37,000.
That was one of those you needed to take your breath for because it was the multiple charges, and then you try to combine them with a findling. I liked that, the fraud and swindle.
Rename everything.
That could be a new thing just for Jamal. But again, he needs to. If you know Jamal, go ahead, make some easy cash, up to $3,000 you could get.
Right. Ricky Perry is 51. He's wanted for vehicle theft. Ricky's got a bond of $5,000. Again, this could easily have been resolved had you just got a little permission, but you didn't. And our next wanted fugitive is Keandre Samuel. Keandre is 23. He's wanted for possession of marijuana over 20 grams.
Oof.
And I want to emphasize over.
Yeah.
And his bond is $3,000. So you know that that's not a misdemeanor charge. That is a felony charge.
He looks sad. He looks like, oh, what am I doing here? And you shouldn't be there. You probably have a great future in front of you, and this isn't somewhere you need to go down. This is not your path.
Absolutely. Our next wanted fugitive is Brandon Sook. He's 33. He's wanted for a failure to appear with a bond of $4,000. You know, I'm just going to say, you know better.
These failure to appears, these are the ones I think that get on my nerves the most. You had an appointment.
Yeah.
You just show up. Now it's going to be 10 times harder for you. You've now ticked off the judge. You've wasted people's time. It's just, it's inconsiderate, it's rude, it's something that could have been completely avoidable.
That's right. Our next wanted fugitive is Holly Turman. She's 34. She's wanted for grand theft, passing a forged or altered instrument, and Holly has no bond. Again, people, come on. A lot of this could be avoided in 100%, but you got to make better choices. And it's just, you know, it's just one of those things.
I shake my head at this one. There's so many that are just so, I mean, I think every charge we've read off this list is very avoidable.
Yeah.
You make your own decisions, you know what you're doing, you know right from wrong.
Yep.
You do.
Yeah, and our final wanted fugitive is Derek Zemke. Again, it must have been a Super Bowl rental because he failed to redeliver his hired or leased property. Derek, you have a bond of $2,000. Somebody out there is going to call Crime Stoppers and give us the location. And those are your wanted fugitives of this week.
Do you think he got it because he thought the Saints were going to play? That could have been it.
Yeah,
Now,
wrong.
Yeah, now he's just really kicking himself because he didn't pay the payments and the Saints got, wrong.
Yeah. Well, there's your wanted fugitives. I know, Amber, you've got an interview that you did on a very important topic.
Very important topic about co-sleeping with infants, just about infant death. We've had unfortunately, a couple this year and a few last year, and if we keep going at this rate, we'll surpass last year. So we brought on some professionals to talk about that and how you can avoid it, just some tips. We hope you stick around and you watch that interview and you learn something. Absolutely,
and it's so worthwhile, and so glad that you come up with that and wanted to really put that out there.
Yeah.
And well, for that, before the interview gets started, I'm going to go ahead and thank everybody for watching this week's segment. And we will be back week after next with new material. Thank you for watching. Again, go to our Facebook page, like us, invite your friends to like us. Go to ECSO, PPD's Facebook page as well. And y'all stay tuned for the interview.
Thank you for joining us and sticking around on our Wanted Fugitive show. We're doing something a little different today. We're doing an interview segment because we have a pretty important topic that we wanted to talk about. So I do have Deputy Chief Chip Simmons with me today, and we wanted to talk about an issue that kind of had gone on in the city a couple years ago. It was going on in the county, and now it's kind of back today, right?
Yeah, the bottom line is it's infants dying in a bed or a crib when they have parents sleeping with them. And a couple of years ago we had this issue. I know Sheriff Morgan and I met with the medical examiner, Dr. Minyard, and we had a whole media blitz about it. And as many of you may recall, we had some billboards that never ever sleep with your, with your child.
I remember seeing those. They were all over town. And
unfortunately, that's why we're here again today, because we've seen an uptick.
Yep. So that's why we brought Captain James on today, because she's kind of the expert in that, or she's the head over the investigative unit that would be looking into those. So this year, though, we've had a couple of them this year, correct?
We have. In January, we've had 3 infant deaths already, which is pretty high compared to last year. Last year, we had 6 total for the year, and in the month of January, we've had 3 infant deaths. We just wanted to highlight the issue of safety. If you're co-sleeping, there are a lot of things that can happen that you don't anticipate and you never foresee. It's not going to be you, it's going to be somebody else. But unfortunately, we have examples of where that's happened in our county. We just want to make the public aware that, you know, this is a real issue, and it's heartbreaking and tragic, not just for the families, but for us too. So we want to make sure everybody's aware.
And I'm sure everybody gets the pamphlets. I'm expecting right now. So I know when I go to the doctor's office, they give you the pamphlets and they tell you everything and the dangers of co-sleeping. And people normally think about, you know, don't put the baby in the bed with you. It's kind of where
Or
you're
in between the mother and the father.
Yeah,
and
that's where your mind goes
Right.
to, right? But it's more than just that.
It's way more than just that. Some of the examples that we've had this year already, one was co-sleeping in an adult bed with two parents, but got tangled up in the comforter. So it's just something as simple. You think everything is okay. One parent gets up, goes to work. The other parent is left there with a child, and you know that extra blanket wraps around that child, and unfortunately, you know, they can, you know, asphyxiate from that.
Well, and these things aren't obviously not intentional.
Oh, absolutely not.
You know,
Right.
as you mentioned, they give you pamphlets, and I wasn't aware of that, but I guess they give you information to say, hey, these are some things to be on the lookout for and to be aware of. And I'm wondering if January, because of winter month, maybe people have more blanket and more quilting and sort of thing in their bedroom.
That could very well be it. You know, it's cold in the house, and it's been unseasonably cold, you know, here in the Panhandle in particular.
But we didn't want to wait. I mean, just because it's January, we understand that we had a whole year to really before we count them and count them statistically. But we didn't want to wait.
No.
You know, because I can tell you that Captain Janes, they've come into my office and we'll talk about the different things that go on, and after you hear about one and then two, it's like, wait, this is the thing that we need to address, and that's why Captain James came and said, hey, can we talk about this some more?
Right.
And because I remember a couple of years ago doing the same thing, and you mentioned one example is that two parents sleeping together and it got caught in the sheets
blanket.
itself,
Right.
okay,
Right.
or the blanket, okay.
Right.
Well,
But there's other instances, right? Like you shouldn't have anything in the crib or the bassinet with the child at any time, and one with the oversized.
Right.
Stuffed animal.
One was an oversized stuffed animal where, you know, they thought placing that stuffed animal around the child would prevent it from falling to either side of the bed, but unfortunately the baby, you know, wedged itself in there and, you know, it suffocated. So it's simple things that you don't expect for tragedy to come out of, and it does. We had another example this year of a breastfeeding incident where, you know, a mom has a toddler already. Now we have a brand new infant baby. She's probably exhausted, and the baby needs to feed in the middle of the night. And, you know, she feeds, and unfortunately they both fall asleep, and, you know, when she wakes up, the baby is passed. So it's just tragic. It's certainly unintentional, but it's something that I'm seeing the statistics increase enough that I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and make this announcement so we can get these numbers back under control, because right now, if we continue at this rate, it's scary.
We're going to surpass last year.
Absolutely.
Well, if you have told me that we'd had this uptick, I would, in my mind and in our discussions that we have in our daily meetings, would be it's a blanket thing, you know, rolling over into someone. I would have never considered the breastfeeding or even
at
the
all.
oversized stuffed animals. I mean, I could see people would get those, whether you win them at a fair or you buy them for it and you prop them up in a bed because of the appearance, you know, make it look nice and homey. And but I would never have thought that would be the cause of a baby death, and certainly not the breastfeeding thing.
Yeah, well, she told me about another one, a couch cushion.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
doesn't always
something-
happen in a bed. I mean, that would be a mistake to think that it only happens in a bed. One parent fell asleep with a child in her arms, but woke up with the child in the crook of the couch between her and the couch cushions. And just something as simple as that, you know, you're tired and the baby is sleeping and it's not developed enough to let you know, hey, I'm in a bad spot, I can't move, I can't breathe. And so it is really sad when something like this happens, and if we can prevent it by this public announcement, that's what we want to do, and save people from that kind of tragedy in their lives, because it certainly is.
Yeah, I think like Chief was saying, just all these other examples, because when you think about it, it is my mind automatically goes to the bed and, you know, having them in the bed with you, but it can be anywhere. And
It can be.
those first few months, you're exhausted, you're tired, and it can easily happen to anybody at any time, but just kind of being aware that could happen to you. Hopefully you'll think about it before you start to doze off, or you think about it before you lay your child down in bed. And you can't put blankets in there with them either. You know, we're talking about how cold it is, but nothing should be in there.
Right. We had two instances where it was a blanket that caused the death of the child. And so you just want a very light blanket, even if it's cool. A baby's kind of hot anyways. And so they really don't need all the extra blankets that we think they need. And so we just have to be really careful, keep it simple, keep it light. That way, if it does get over their face, it doesn't suffocate them, and you know, they can still move about and they don't get tangled. That's the biggest issue. But
you know, we're always asked about advice on different prevention of crime, prevention of this type of things, and we always say, it seems like I always say, awareness.
Yeah.
You know, how do you prevent from keep from being a victim of a purse snatcher or something like that? Well, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of where the potentials are. And I think that would fit this case as well. Be aware of what the dangers are.
That's right.
You know, whenever you take your child home, then, you know, you're told to put them on their back or the front. I'm not sure which one it is now.
They change it every year,
Yeah,
I think.
they change it, you
quite
know.
a bit.
That you don't feed them hard food or real grown-up food until
Right.
a certain point, and all those types of things. And then I think just add this to the checklist of things that an expectant parent or certainly a parent, grandparent, guardian, uncle,
Anybody
aunt,
that would
whoever
have
would
any
watch
interaction,
them,
that's right.
especially those. That's brings me another point. The parents may be very familiar with it, but is the babysitter very familiar
right.
with it? Is a
It's a great-
uncle or
great
an
thing to bring
aunt who's babysitting, or just taking a nap on a couch?
Right.
You know, that's important to note that it's not always in a bed. So just add that to the checklist of things to be cautious about.
That's right. There's been a lot of illness with respiratory and stuff like that, which just compounds this issue. If you do have a baby that's sick or ill and you know that they've got some breathing issues, make sure that your babysitter's aware of that and takes that extra precaution to make sure that, you know, it can breathe and that it doesn't get overheated and stuff like that, because it really can lead to something that, you know, you just didn't expect. And we want to prevent it.
It's obviously a lot of responsibility having
It
a child,
is.
and that's
You know,
part of the thing you sign up for, you know.
Exactly. We've talked about some very serious things on this TV, and we go out to different speaking engagements and we talk about some very serious things, but I can't think of something more serious and more pertinent in regards to safety is that of our children. And not just our children, our infants, our babies,
They don't
our
have a voice
future.
yet.
And it's just that nothing is more important than this. And the fact that Captain James came and said, hey, can we put this information out, because some people must not be getting it.
That's right.
You know, or we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. So the decision was made. Talked to Sheriff Morgan. We said, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to get that information out, much like we did a couple of years ago. And again, unfortunately, we're in a position where we have to remind everyone again. And so we obviously appreciate your bringing it, first of all, bringing it to our attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then secondly, being willing to come in here and discuss these things, because they're not easy to discuss.
No,
they're
it's
really not.
Not at all. It's very, like you were saying, it's a very tragic thing. It's very tough, not only on the family that has to go through it, but when you guys show up, I mean, that's a lot of you have children of your own, and
That's right.
it's very, very tough
Right.
to see and
Right.
to deal with it. It's tough in the community to hear.
It really is, and that just talking about us talking
Yeah.
about it, someone will watch this, and then hopefully they'll talk to some people and it'll either direct them to watch this,
Right.
or they'll remember it and they'll go look at it themselves. Because with today's social media, hopefully we can spread word pretty quickly, and our hope obviously is that we have no more.
Right.
That's it. So we won't have to come back and remind them 2 months from now, hey, it's not getting through.
Yeah.
It's getting through to you. So that's why we're here.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us with this
Thank
and
you.
bringing it to light. And again, if you're planning on having a baby anytime soon, have an infant, just think about that. Please share this on social media and get the word out, let everybody know. If you have any more questions about it, you can always email us at pio@escambiaso.com.
Thank you.
Well, we hoped you enjoyed that interview. It was obviously something that we really needed to get out there and speak about, and that's never a topic any of us, it's just not a scene anybody wants to show up on or have it happen to anybody. No. It's just, it's tragic. But we would like to start doing more interviews like that on the show.
Yeah, if there's something in particular you have questions about, whether it be concealed weapons, things that you should do before you go on vacation, anything, any topic that they would like to see.
Yeah, that's important to you or your community. If you'd like to know more about Crime Stoppers, if there's something you feel like we haven't touched on the show that you'd want to hear more about, or you know, any kind of, how do I stay safe when I'm out and about, you know, shopping, or
Right.
what do I do? There's a lot of crimes or potential crimes that could happen. How do you protect yourself? Even from things like, we've got tax returns coming, you know,
Yes.
to not get your identity stolen, things like that. Just think of some ideas, and we really hope that you'd email us those ideas at pio@escambiaso.com. And we would love to do more interview segments like that. Don't you think it's like a great opportunity for the community?
Absolutely. And again, this is your Crime Stopper show. We say this every time we come on the air, and we mean it. We want to address the community's concerns and questions, and hopefully get more people logged on or
Yeah.
tuned up to watch and get ready and you know, see us every week, and hopefully they'll utilize the program.
That's it. And again, you can always email us at pio@escambiaso for .com. Let me not forget the .com. That's the
right.
important part in that email. But if you have any ideas or anything else you want to learn about, go ahead and send us an email.
That's right.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.